Hey everybody, it's Armin. Today we're going to be disassembling this BP4W here. Came out of an NA Miata. Allegedly it has a built motor, and the guy said that he money shifted it. We figured he probably money shifted because he has one of those IRP shifters that's like super notchy and really close. And he said that's exactly what happened. It's really easy to miss shift in those. Either way, allegedly this already has pistons and rods, but it's making some awful noises. So my job today is to tear it apart, see what happened, and then see what we need to do in order to get it back running. The car is supercharged, so we are going to be doing upgrades one way or the other. Looks like he already has ARP on the top. We're going to start by draining the oil because, well, we got the motor out, they didn't drain the oil yet. All right, here we go. Alright, you probably saw that was really black oil. I didn't see any chunks come out of it, but that doesn't mean there aren't chunks. They just may not be able to make their way to the drain hole. What I do want to point out is I do have a pretty nasty looking crank keyway. The keyway looks good for the first 3/4 inch, and then that last little bit has a notch out of it. It's kind of damaged. That may not affect anything, but I do like to point that out. Also, the crank nose looks bad. I don't know, man, this thing's in really bad condition. It could just be the way the rust looks, but it looks like this thing's been hammered a lot. There's a lot of weird misshapings going on here. Inside the motor has some interesting green lines. Looks like it sat for a while and then maybe started rusting, I don't know. Could be that it had low cool level. Looks like they did instead of doing a coolant block off, they went ahead and stuck a freeze plug in here. Also notice this thing's painted an odd red color. Either way, let's go ahead and I guess just get the head off of it. The beautiful thing about these is you don't have to remove the cams in order to get the head off of it, so just pull the head straight off. Alright, now that we got the pan off, we can have a look. We definitely ate a bearing because if you look over here, there's a lot of you know, bearing material. It's a lot of little slivers that look copperish. And then down in the pan, it looks just like there's a whole bunch of it down in there. Yeah, let's go ahead and see which bearing it ate. It also looks like we don't have ARP on the bottom. We'll be putting ARP back in whenever we reassemble. So we're down here looking on the motor. Cylinder number 4 has a whole bunch of rod material next to it, it looks like. Rod bearing, that is. When I pulled the windage tray, which was extremely hard to get off, I usually don't battle as much with these, it has some material on it as well, and then on the outsides as well there was some material. The pickup tube has a little bit on the filter, and then as I had mentioned, the oil pan itself is pretty caked up over there. So it would appear that we have something going on with cylinder 4. Let's go ahead and pull some of the, actually, you know what, let's wiggle these rods. Can I wiggle this one? Didn't feel like I can wiggle it, but let's get the pistons out and take a look at these things. Okay, so I gave a wiggle to number 3. Number 3's got some wiggle to it, so I'm willing to bet we lost bearing number 3, and possibly number 4, but number 4 doesn't seem to be moving. But all the debris is in the area of number 4. But anyway, number 3 is definitely missing a bearing. Number 2 is solid. Number 1's pretty solid. Look over the valves. I don't see any contact. I didn't see any evidence, at least on initial looks. I didn't see any evidence of any valve contact. I would doubt it. These are very non-interference motors. And even if he did miss shift, it probably just ate the bearing. We'll see. Let's continue. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these rods one by one from 1 to 4 piston rod assemblies, you know. Okay, cylinder 1, the bearing is definitely no good. We can already see evidence that it's being flattened out over on the side. And obviously it's not supposed to be that color either. So the first layer has at least been eaten off of this bearing. You can see it doesn't even fit right on here, so that's a problem. Some nice looking pistons. So the walls are a little scraped up. Top looks okay. I mean, it's got some grime on it, so that's to be expected. Go ahead and pair these back together. Take a look at the. Oh boy. I'll get the camera and we'll go over the actual crank here in just a moment, but both of the bearings show the same evidence. We're gonna stick this guy back together. Ooh, this one looks really cool. Check this out. Cylinder number 2, not worn over here, but definitely worn over there. This one looks like it still has decent fitment into the rod, but like compared to cylinder number 1, it was not even fitting. This one still at least fits there. Let's pull the cap. So the cap, interestingly enough, the cap doesn't have near as much damage on it. I'm not saying it's not damaged, it's just not near as much because this is obviously through the metal. Cylinder 3, there is no bearing. So this rod's probably no good. There's no material left on here. Oh wait, it's there. It's essentially like a molded to it. Get that piston out of there. Yes, doesn't come out. Look at this. You can see the bearing material is peeling away. Like there's barely anything left. That's bad. Cylinder 4 is probably the best condition of them all. Very limited amounts of scarring. Although I should not speak too soon. You need to check out the bearing. If I don't drop it. Yeah, the bearing's actually, this is the least of them. It's not great condition, but it's a hell of a lot better than the last one. So like I was saying, the crank nose looks pretty bad. I'm not fond of how that looks. And as I was saying about the keyway is dinged up. Take a look at that. Looks like someone definitely bunked the nose of this with a hammer a bunch of times. Rod bearing position number 1, you can see it's scraped up. It's definitely scraped up on that side. And the reason for that is that when this one's at BDC, I guess it was taking the beating. Cylinder number 2, a little scraped up. Cylinder 3, absolutely mangled. Cylinder 4, okay on this side, not the greatest on that side. I'm gonna leave it in this condition. Right now, I'm gonna pull off the cover of the oil pump and see how it looks inside. I've got my wife checking the numbers on these rods because I noticed some of them are not paired. So whoever assembled this maybe did not pay attention to the numbers on the rods and then paired them incorrectly. That could be a potential for failure, because if you know how rods are made, they're broken, they are paired, they fit exactly. And I noticed when I was putting them back together, they didn't fit well. You probably noticed when I was putting them together, they didn't just click together and bolt in. But I do turn a blind eye to that just a little bit, because obviously this motor was cooked, so there's some chance of some warpage or something. However, it's important that those numbers match. So they were on the same side, which is one thing, but if they're different numbers, that could be a problem. ¿Y qué encontraste?
Hay diferentes números, 0.82 para ambos, y este tiene 0.109 y el otro 29.12.
Entonces, ¿están cambiando entre uno y el otro?
Espérame.
Porque estoy buscando si hay un juego, pero está mezclado.
Ok, y este es 0.109.
Okay, this is a 0082 on both of those. That's fine.
29.12.
This one is 2628 on both. That's fine. This one's 0109 and 2912. That's not good. And this one is. These two got mixed. So apparently someone got the rod ends mixed. Now I won't say. ¿Cuáles cilindros son? ¿Cuáles cilindros son?
Es el
Uno y qué?
y 2.
So 1 and 2, the rod caps got mixed. Obviously cylinders 1 and 2 weren't our main culprits here, but hey, shame on you if you're assembling this motor, because you should have paid attention. Those do not go together like that. Any engine builder will tell you, you match them together. The wording goes on the same side and the same number goes on the same side, or rather the nomenclature, the numbering. So bad move on whomever assembled this. We're gonna leave this just like this. I'm just gonna take off the back here. Like I said, I'm gonna pop open the back of the oil pump and we're gonna take a look inside of it. But after that, I'm just gonna go ahead and do some cleanup, and that's kind of it. So let's take a look. I'll be honest, the oil pump just looks kind of nominal. There's no real good or bad here. It just looks like an oil pump. So the oil pump's probably reusable, but I will recommend to change out for billet gears at the very least. So we're gonna bag this and keep it. Well, that's kind of all for the disassembly. I'm going to give you a quick look over the head of the motor, and then we're not going to disassemble that. We're just going to leave that for the machine shop to go over. Come on. There we go. Let's go take a look real quick over here so you can just see. This is cylinder 1. Well, that's pretty much it. You know, we're gonna see what we can do about this. I'm not too hopeful about it. I'm gonna recommend a new crank for this guy. But thanks for watching the teardown, and hopefully soon we'll have a video for reassembly. Thanks for watching.